Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all so much for joining me here today for another pick a card reading. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome in. My name is Melissa and today's topic is going to be, how are you perceived in the workplace? So this can be a really great reading for you if you are just curious as to how others are perceiving you from a work perspective. So the messages within this reading can apply if you are looking to see how a specific person at work perceives you, your boss, or maybe you're just wanting to know like how your work colleagues or other professionals in your field in general are perceiving you. So it's very open. Just kind of have an idea of who or what topic or what group you're wanting to know about before you make your card selection here. But I love topics like this because I think a lot of times when it comes to work, we're not all always blessed with supervisors or colleagues that are telling us the truth of how people are perceiving us. So this can be really good if you guys are just looking for a little bit of a deeper insight into how you're coming across in the workplace to others. And I think even taking this as a way to not only celebrate the positive aspects that may come through, but also gain some insight into maybe the shadow sides of your personality at work. This can be really helpful to help maybe improve or correct certain areas as well. So keep in mind, you all, this is a general reading, so some messages may apply super specifically to you while others may not. Feel free to take what resonates, just leave behind anything that doesn't. If you do want to book a personal reading, I do offer that option. Check the description box below for all details on how to do that. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our card selection for today's reading. Starting here on the left, we have card 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go ahead and take a deep breath. Think about how you are perceived in the workplace. Maybe focusing in on any specific person that you're curious about, how they perceive you at work, or any specific group. Go ahead and select the card or the crystal you're feeling the most intuitively guided to. And when you're ready, go ahead and scroll down to the description box and click on the timestamp, which corresponds to your reading. Hello there, pile number 1. If you all selected this green adventurine, then this will be a reading all about how you are perceived in the workplace. So we have a full stack here. I'm going to kind of get into this perception first, and then the last card is going to be any advice that you guys need to hear with regard to how others are perceiving you. So let's hop right in. So we've got the King of Pentacles coming through. We have the message of the Fool coming through. And from the chakras, we have the solar plexus chakra. Okay. All right, pile 1. So I'm definitely getting the impression here that you're perceived as being somebody who's really, really confident in the workplace. Solar plexus is coming through here, and solar plexus talks about the ability to be confident and steadfast, and really somebody that shows up willing to put in the effort and energy needed to get the work done. And I do think that because you all are perceived as being so hardworking here with this King of Pentacles, there's a lot of this perception out there that you guys really stand out. We have shine. You are made up of stardust, so keep sparkling. Like, you guys really stand out at work. People notice you. We've got the sun shining down on you here in the Fool. So it's like, I feel this sense of like people really looking to you as somebody who is valued. I get the sense that for some of you guys, maybe you've been working in this place of work or doing this work for a really long time with the King of Pentacles here. And so people perceive you as, you know, being somebody that is very hardworking, somebody who has really like climbed the ladder, so to speak, but also somebody who is able to help support. So maybe some of you guys watching this are managers or supervisors of some sort. You don't necessarily have to be, but there's certainly this energy where people feel like you are supporting them. And with the message of the Fool being here, you know, the Fool talks about like authenticity. It talks about kind of like making choices and decisions that like feel good to you. And with the sun, how the sun is like shining down onto the Fool and this message of shine that we have here with the solar plexus, I really feel that people see you as somebody who maybe doesn't really care too much about what other people think. You guys just kind of march to the beat of your own drum in a sense. Like the choices and decisions that you make are all based off of what feels authentic and true. But it's interesting because it's definitely balanced out with this more grounded energy of the King of Pentacles. So I definitely don't feel like you guys are just like jumping off the ledge, so to speak, and just doing whatever feels good in the moment without putting a lot of thought into something first. Let's continue. Okay, so we have the Samaritan and the Shapeshifter. Okay, interesting. So the Samaritan certainly does talk about helping others, right? Refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore. So it's like, I definitely see that people are perceiving you guys at work as being somebody who is able to help support, kind of like I was picking up on there with that King of Pentacles. And maybe you guys are the kind of person that will help people at work, even if it's not really your responsibility to do so, or even if people can tell that maybe you don't really feel like doing it right now because maybe you have something else that you're working on or your attention's being drawn other places, but you still do it anyway. With the shapeshifter energy, this talks about skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness, ability to see the potential in everything. Projecting any image that serves your personal agenda in the moment. Okay. I definitely think that with the shapeshifter coming through, people see you guys as being very fluid and very flexible. I think kind of going back into the message of the Fool here, I think of like being able to navigate through like complex situations or navigating through changes or difficult situations with fluidity and ease because you guys are grounded in the fact that you know who you are. You know what I mean? So people definitely see you guys as being very flexible, but I also think that people may see you as being a little bit changeable, if you will. Like the shapeshifter can also talk about like kind of being a chameleon in a sense where we kind of like meld or we kind of like mold into whatever we need to do for that specific period of time rather than doing maybe what's true to us. So even though I think that for many of you watching this video, there is this perception of authenticity about you, there may also be a shadow attribute to look into here around like, people may see you guys as being a little bit like changeable depending on what goal you're going after in the moment. So like maybe you guys kind of have a high level of awareness of like how perception is important, right? And so whenever there's a new goal that needs to be achieved or maybe a new sort of like image that you're wanting to project, it's like you jump into that. And that may not always be perceived as positive. It may not be negative. It might just be something people notice. Do you guys get what I mean? But let's continue. All right. So we have the cat. And we have the dog. That's funny. One thing I want to say is that both of these are domesticated animals. Even the cat card says domestic on it, sorry. And with that King of Pentacles here, this is kind of, again, tying me into this idea of like, you guys are perceived as someone that's like very established to this environment. So I definitely feel that there's a lot of respect and high regard for you from your colleagues and coworkers. With the cat energy, this talks very much about independence, being able to kind of do things on your own without needing to rely on others to support you all the time. And I definitely see that coming through in your cards because King of Pentacles is someone that's very self-sufficient. So even though they can take good care of the people around them or take care of their responsibilities, like they do know how to take care of themselves first. And the Fool energy is very much about like striking out onto a new adventure And you're doing it just like with, that blind beginner's passion. Just a very free-spirited energy, not really needing or caring about others in that moment or needing their approval. So I definitely feel that people see you guys as being very independent. And so like, even though I feel like you guys do work well with others, you're not perceived as somebody who needs others to be successful. Like, this is definitely more of a self-focused energy. Now the dog, this is an interesting message because it kind of ties into this message of shapeshifter. This says your loyalty and faithfulness is misplaced by serving too many masters. Okay, so I definitely think there's a shadow side to this reading that you guys may want to explore a little bit further, because remember, the shapeshifter talks about projecting any image that serves your personal agenda in the moment. So people are definitely picking up on the fact that you guys tend to be like changeable or flexible depending on what your goal is that you're trying to achieve, or maybe even depending on who is around you. Because if you guys think of a dog, like, most dogs, of course, are loyal to their masters, but they're also like a very friendly animal, whereas like a cat is more independent and just like does its own thing. You have a dog that's your pet, like your dog probably loves everybody that comes into your house. I mean, not every dog is like this, right? But that's definitely a clear distinction between how a cat would behave versus a dog. And so there is definitely this perception of like maybe people picking up on the fact that you guys change who you are depending on who you're talking to. Okay, so that is just something that you guys may want to be aware of here. So let's go ahead and tap into our last card. This is going to be your advice. So for you guys, pile 1, we have the Skull of Darkness, blind spots. That's so interesting. So yeah, even though I definitely feel you guys, like, people perceive you as being like a top performer, being someone that's in the spotlight, being someone that's really grounded and, accomplished, you've achieved a lot. There's definitely positive perceptions of you out there, but I definitely think that this card, the Skull of Darkness, is asking you to maybe shine the light and focus in on those aspects of your personality at work that you may not be seeing super clearly right now. Like, when I think of blind spots, it's like something that we just don't see, right? Because we're not looking at it. When I think of like a blind spot in your car, right? Like, if you don't have your mirror adjusted properly to be able to see around you, it's like, you're not going to see. You're going to have blind spots to certain things that are going on in your environment. And so I feel like this is what this is talking about, is like a need here for you guys to maybe do some reflection and think about, what are my blind spots as it pertains to work and how my colleagues, coworkers, or whoever that you asked about in this reading is perceiving me. And I definitely think the blind spot has to do with this kind of shapeshifter, loyalty sort of energy. So even though I feel like you all are perceived as being very successful, this could actually be something that might be getting in your way of becoming even more successful in the workplace. So it looks very interesting, pile 1. Definitely let me know how the message resonated with you. I always love hearing your feedback in the comments down below, so drop me a line and let me know. If you made it to the end of this reading, thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hello there, group number 2. If you all selected this really cute little candy fluorite, this is going to be your reading all about how you are perceived at work. So regardless of who you guys asked about, whether it's like just in general you wanted to know or a specific person, remember, those messages can apply regardless if this was the pile you were drawn to. So first we're going to tap into like how you're perceived, and then I'm going to close it out with a little advice for you if you guys feel like you need some advice on this. Okay, so we start off here with the message of the Queen of Pentacles reversed. And then we also have the Two of Swords here. We also have the Crown Chakra, oneness. You are part of the universe and always will be. Okay, pile number 2. I kind of am getting the impression here that your coworkers, or the way you're perceived at work, whatever you guys do, is like, I feel like people kind of perceive you as being someone who kind of stays out of conflict. I feel like you're someone that's perceived as being like very chill vibes, like maybe very protective over your energy. And I almost feel like strong boundaries coming up here, like, because when I think of a Queen of Pentacles, this is typically somebody who is helpful, like can be nurturing to others, almost like a maternal energy, but it's reversed. I almost feel like maybe you guys kind of keep to yourselves at work and don't really go out of your way to like connect all the time with others. And with the Two of Swords being here, this is a very like, you know, this is also like a very indecisive energy too. So like while you guys do, I think, like to keep to yourselves and kind of keep the peace, status quo, calm energy, right? I also think that there is this element here of maybe people perceiving you as being a little bit indecisive. Maybe you guys might struggle with making decisions, or maybe for some of you, this is more about like staying out of conflict, staying neutral, kind of. Not giving your energy to anything that others may be trying to pull you into, okay? I do feel like you guys are perceived as being like kind of mysterious in a way, or like very spiritual. Maybe the role that you guys are in right now is something spiritual for some, but this talks about oneness. You're part of the universe and always will be. So it's like, I feel like people kind of perceive you as like someone that can look at the spiritual meaning behind things that happen at work, or maybe even someone who's able to kind of see things from a higher perspective, and be able to maybe like, this is why you stay out of stuff, because it's like when you zoom the lens out and look at the bigger picture, you guys may be the type of person that's like, it's not really worth me getting involved in that, because in the big picture of things, in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't really matter. I don't need to engage and invest energy in that because it's something very small when you zoom the lens out. But this Queen of Pentacles reverse is interesting because I'm wondering if you guys may, like this, I'm getting a couple different messages here. Like, so for some, I feel like this could be that people kind of perceive you as not putting in a ton of effort. Maybe like a little bit of a lazy vibe is the way some people might see you, which would make sense with sort of like this neutral energy of wanting to stay out of stuff. But for others, this could also be like people perceive you as being like a little bit more needier. Because like I was saying before, a Queen of Pentacles is someone that's like they're like, they can take care of their responsibilities, they take care of self, and they are also able to give and take care of others if need be. But because it's reversed, I'm wondering if there's like something going on with you right now where maybe you're feeling like people see you as like needing more support. Which isn't always a bad thing at work, because sometimes you do need more support. Maybe you're going through something that's challenging, or maybe you're new to your role, you're not as experienced with a certain problem. So don't necessarily take it as like the end of the world, but that's just what I'm seeing. So let's continue. Ooh, so we've got the storyteller. Okay. And then we have the child orphan. Interesting. This is really catching my eye because this is talking about independence based on learning to go it alone. So yeah, you guys, I definitely think that for most of you viewing this, people just perceive you as sort of doing your own thing at work. Like, you are very independent. And this is why we have sort of this Switzerland, like neutral energy here, where it's like, I think you all are probably, whether you're meaning to or not, like people are perceiving you as being happier, just kind of doing things on your own, doing your own thing, focusing on yourself. You have like a very, very independent energy. But I do wonder if there's some aspect of your personality that does want to connect, because this also talks about feelings of abandonment that stifle maturation, seeking inappropriate surrogate families. So I'm wondering if you guys are maybe like really wanting connection at work, or maybe you've tried to have connection at work, but maybe you felt that it hasn't totally worked out for you. This could also be a message here like around professional relationships too, because especially with seeking inappropriate surrogate families, like the Queen of Pentacles reversed is, Queen of Pentacles is like a mother card for me anyway. So that it's reversed, that could definitely be in alignment with like an inappropriate like work relationship where like maybe, I'm trying to think of an example I could give you guys, but like maybe like it's like a boss or a supervisor that's like too personal or too mothery with her, you know, subordinates or something like that. You know, so I'm not saying that's your specific situation, but there could be a message here around like the relationships at work as well. We also have the storyteller. So this talks about ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. We also have making up tales that harm others. I'm really not necessarily seeing the shadow attribute coming through here because you guys come across as so like independently, like doing your own thing, staying out of drama. But I feel like this, so it's talking about expression through stories and symbols. So I'm wondering if you guys are able to kind of express yourself in a way at work that's different than like the traditional way of expression, okay? Whether that is through storytelling or whether it's through different sort of like energy that you're putting out there or different ways of interpreting things. And people, I think, kind of pick up on this fact that you're able to express yourself maybe a little bit differently than the norm. Okay, let's continue. So we have the penguin. It says the period of darkness that you've been experiencing is now passing. We also have the tiger. You're being called on to provide leadership, so trust that you're capable of doing so. So there's like a little bit of a confidence message coming through here from your peers or whoever you guys asked about. So like people definitely can tell that maybe you guys have been through something recently, which makes a lot of sense as to why we have sort of this closed off energy coming through of kind of not wanting to engage necessarily with others a ton. And this penguin card is very icy. It's like this little penguin is, I kind of see him as like being inside this little cube of ice. So people, I think, definitely can feel that you guys might be a little bit closed off or can feel that like maybe there's been something going on in your life, perhaps outside of the workplace, or maybe even a tough period within the workplace. They know that you've been going through that, or at least they are thinking that you're going through that because of the way that you're coming across. But there's a message here about leadership. So I feel like people do want leadership from you. I feel like people do perceive you as being capable of actually being a really great leader, somebody that is very confident, somebody that's able to stand out and lead a team or step up to the plate in other ways. And I feel like this is something that people are actually craving from you, but maybe they don't always feel like you're getting it. I will say too, kind of going back to the storyteller, I did just get a little message about gossip. Queen of Pentacles reverse. I think of like, what is their name? Like Regina George or like Gretchen Wieners from Mean Girls. Like kind of maybe like being a little too reckless with the way we talk. I'm wondering if that's something that has been like a challenge for some of you, or at least your coworkers or colleagues at work might be seeing you that way. Interesting. Okay, let's continue. This is going to be your advice card. So we have the advice card of the Mummy, which talks about change. Okay, so what this is saying is that change is something that's necessary right now. So you guys may be going through something at work and people are seeing you go through this, and this could be why, you know, you're being perceived the way that you are, pile number 2. This is about like not resisting the change, like going with the change, embracing the change, even though it might look or feel a little bit scary, or maybe it might feel emotional for you, because we do have a full moon here, almost like a super moon. But I also think that this is Spirit encouraging you to make necessary changes, right? Like it doesn't necessarily have to mean that change just happens. Like you guys can actually take change and take matters into your own hands here. So this is also a message for you around leadership, to kind of step up to the plate and take control so that you're able to initiate the changes that you want to see. And there could be like, whenever I think of the Mummy, I think of preservation as well. So even though the Mummy is talking about changes, you know, transitioning from one world into another spiritually, there's still preservation of the body that's left behind, right? So maybe there's a bigger message here for some of you about preserving something, some sort of foundation, or preserving some aspect of something at work. While navigating through or still instigating change. Like maybe you're keeping some pieces of what you've created, but changing others. Does that make sense? I don't know. Hopefully that made sense to you. So I'm going to go ahead and close it out there for you, pile 2, but definitely let me know how the messages resonated with you. Thank you all so much for taking the time to view today's reading, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hello there, pile number 3. If you all selected the Sunstone, this will be your reading all about how others perceive you at work. So we're going to go ahead and get started with tarot. So we have the 10 of Swords coming through. We have the King of Wands reversed, and we have the Crown Chakra. Okay. Okay. Pile number 3. This is like a little bit of an intense energy to kind of start this reading off with. So, I would just say, like, let's go into this reading with an open mind, because this is something we can change, right? Like, the whole reason behind me doing this reading is to give you guys like an accurate snapshot about how truly people see you, so that you can be aware of it and make the necessary changes to be better if that's what you want. So I would say right now, as the energy stands today with you guys viewing this reading, I do feel like people are seeing you as being a little bit exhausted or exhausting to be around. Take what resonates for you. The 10 of Swords talks about like backstabbing. It talks about betrayal. It talks about like hitting rock bottom. So this can be talking about you guys, and people see you as having gone through the ringer recently and having hit this rock bottom place in the workplace. And with the King of Wands being reversed, this is like showing there's a lack of confidence. This is like a lack of leadership, a lack of really being able to handle or manage circumstances, because we've almost had like the wind knocked out of us in a way. But I also can see another message here that I want to deliver. So if that doesn't apply to you, of this message of hitting rock bottom, then the other thing that I'm getting from this is that people feel drained being in your presence. With the King of Wands being reversed, this can be a leader that leads from a place of fear or leads from a place of ego, and isn't always like in tune with how others are feeling around them. Like they're like, it's a little bit of this like energy vampire sort of energy. So like, because the King of Wands reversed doesn't feel confident in himself, it's almost like they feed off of the energy of others to be able to make themselves feel better. So like doing things to prop yourself up at the expense of the people around you and their energy, okay? So 2 very different messages here. Maybe one or both can apply in different levels of severity, so take it however it resonates with you. We also have the Crown Chakra here though. So this talks about like meditation, to see more clearly, close your eyes. So I do feel that even though there is this perception of you guys out there of either having hit rock bottom or maybe being a little bit draining to be around right now, I do kind of feel this energy that like people see you maybe trying to change it, right? Because the Crown Chakra is very spiritual. This is definitely about being enlightened to the truth. And specifically with meditation, to see more clearly, close your eyes. This talks about like being able to take a rest period so that you can kind of see yourself and see the situation a little bit more clearly than you had in the past. So I do kind of get the sense that people see you as like trying to make changes as it pertains to like your perception, or as it pertains to whatever is going on in the workplace. And remember, you guys, this is just like a temporary energy right now. So this doesn't mean this is how people are going to see you forever. This is just what's happening today as you're viewing this reading. So let's continue. Okay. We have the Athlete. This is very King of Wands energy coming through here. Okay. Oh my gosh. And we also have the Vampire. Okay. Pretty, goes along really well with what we've already been talking about here. So yeah, you guys, the Vampire, this is like a draining, depleting type of energy. So there's 2 messages here. On the shadow side, we've got depleting others for your psychic survival, chronic complaining, and codependency. These could be behaviors that maybe you guys have been struggling with at work. and maybe others are starting to feel a little bit drained. And like, this is normal, like, especially if you're in a toxic work environment or you're in an environment that's not serving you in your highest good. You know, like, it's natural to kind of fall into this like complaining and venting and putting it out there, but it's important to know that too much of this energy can feel very draining for those around you. You know, I know that I've been this person before where I've been like the vampire, and I've also experienced being on the other side of people like really draining my energy because all they want to do is complain. So like, it's just something to be aware of. And the light aspect of this card really talks about like awareness. Makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. So I do think that for some of you, there is an awareness that something at work needs to change, whether it's your behavior and you're the one depleting others, or whether it's like something going on at work. Now we're aware that it's draining us and making us hit rock bottom, and now we can change it. We've become aware. Now the athlete, this is really interesting. So like, people definitely perceive you guys as being really strong. I definitely feel like in the workplace, you are seen as somebody that's like physically strong. I also think people see you as being very strong-willed as well. You guys are definitely perceived as the type of person that can go in and just like get stuff done for real. But again, like on the shadow aspect of things, especially going in with this King of Wands, this talks about misuse of athletic ability for selfish ends, false sense of invulnerability, and entitlement. This really aligns with that King of Wands reversed, right? Kind of like that self-centered energy. So for some of you, not all, for some of you, there could be a message here around people perceiving you as being a little bit selfish or self-centered in the way that you're moving at work right now. Okay, let's continue. Oh my gosh, yeah. So we've got the chameleon. Stay in the background and adapt to the situation rather than being conspicuous and attempting to direct the course of events. And we've got the meerkat. Get support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. Okay. So listen, you guys, I think that for those of you that are in just like a really draining work environment right now and it's kind of knocked you off of your confidence, I feel like people definitely see you as sort of like staying to yourself in a way. Like the chameleon is like talking about like being adaptable. So I definitely feel that people are seeing you as like attempting to be more like adaptable or more in the shadows and less kind of out there, right? The King of Wands reverse is less of that like, you know, take charge energy. It's more of like, let me lean back because I'm not feeling super confident about the situation right now. So there's definitely like this energy of this perception of you guys being like flexible, changeable, mutable, if you will. But the chameleon also can talk about like shape-shifting too, right? So depending on which part of this message resonates with you and which part doesn't, like the chameleon could also be talking about like this sort of like vampire energy too, of like, you know, being in the shadows, or this gossipy energy like in the shadows, or changing the way that you're talking depending on who you're talking to, right? We also have the meerkat. Get support from a trusted group of like-minded friends. So I feel like people do perceive you as having support. So people do see you as having like people around you that think like you, people around you who navigate situations similarly to you. I also think that this is showing like, again, like I keep getting a few messages coming through here about you guys being aware of the situation and trying to find a way to fix it. And that definitely came through with like the chameleon, the meditation, and the meerkat. So it's like maybe, again, this is just reaffirming that people are seeing you as trying to like get support to better the situation versus continuing to stick into it. All right, let's go ahead and get your advice card, pile 3. So we have the message of the Barmbrack, sweetness and synergy. Ooh, this is a good message for you. So when I think of this message, sweetness and synergy, when I think of synergy, I think of like trying to blend or work together with different elements or different people. So I definitely feel like there's a message here around you guys needing to try to kind of like come together with others, try to mix in with others in a different way, balancing things out. And I also think the message of sweetness coming through is really important here because, there's not a lot of very sweet energy in your reading. Like, this energy feels very draining. It feels really like maybe you guys have been through something really tough, or at least whoever you're asking about is perceiving you as being difficult to be around. You know, especially if you guys might be like a manager or a leader, like this is not the way that you want your direct reports to be perceiving you, because they're not perceiving you in a positive light right now. So there is a need here to bring a little bit more kindness into the workplace, bring a little bit more fun into the workplace, like sweetness, like what can you do to kind of sweeten it up? And that doesn't mean that you're going to be like a pushover and just let people do whatever the heck they want, but it definitely feels like the people, whoever you're asking about, is wanting a little bit more balance within the workplace with regard to working with you. This Barmbrack card, this also talks about like being present in the moment and not stressing so much about the future. Like, it's good to be future forward, it's good to be future oriented and have a plan, but this also talks about needing to be present in the here and the now, versus being so preoccupied with what's going to happen. And so maybe for some of you all, if you're feeling really drained or stressed at work, you're dealing with something at work, this is about like you guys getting right with like, let me deal with the present versus stressing myself out so much about what's going to happen or what might happen. So this is a very interesting, like kind of blunt reading, pile number 3. I would definitely be curious to know like how it resonated for you, because I feel like I was picking up on a couple of different scenarios here. So drop me a line below and let me know. I know that it was blunt, so I do apologize if it was too blunt for you. Please don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here to deliver the message. But anyways, I hope it was helpful. Thank you all for taking the time to view this reading today, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hey there, group number 4. If you all did select the Bloodstone, this is going to be your reading all about how people in the workplace are perceiving you. So let's go ahead and see. Let's get started here. All right, so pile 4, we've got the Queen of Cups reversed, and we have the Temperance card. Okay. We also have the Crown Chakra coming through here. All right, so we're going to start here, and we're going to kind of add on with the other cards as we go, pile 4. So listen, I feel like people are perceiving you guys as, I feel like you guys are the type of person that's very kind and compassionate and sweet at work. With the Queen of Cups, like this is definitely somebody who's an empath. So people definitely perceive you guys as being an empath, or perceive you as being like, you know, that type of person that's there to provide emotional support. However, with the Temperance card being next to it and the Queen of Cups card being reversed, I'm sort of getting the impression here that people are perceiving you as maybe like trying to find a little bit more balance or patience with others, or maybe even trying to put down a boundary, because the Queen of Cups, like the problem sometimes that a Queen of Cups can have, especially if it's reversed, is that like they're not good at boundaries and protecting their own energy. It's like they just kind of take on the energy of everybody at the expense of themselves, right? So with the Queen of Cups being reversed, like people right now could be perceiving you as being like a little bit distant or detached, or even like a little bit anxious or neurotic in the workplace at times, depending on your situation. But with the Temperance card, it's like they're definitely perceiving you as trying to come to a place of balance again. Finding ways that you can be emotional with people and compassionate with people while also being grounded. You see how we have one foot in the water, one foot planted firmly on the earth, right? So people are picking that up. People are definitely seeing that from you. And with the message here of divinity, this is the Crown Chakra, recognize the divine in the mirror. It's like, I feel like people are perceiving you as being very self-aware to this, that you have reflected on this and you kind of see it. Crown Chakra has been like a theme coming through this, this entire video, which is kind of interesting. People may also perceive you as being like of the divine, or someone that's very spiritual. Temperance as well talks about like divine timing. So it's interesting that we have this message of divinity here with Temperance, which is divine timing, divine intervention, maybe. But yeah, I definitely think that people see you guys as being really patient. Somebody that's going to take their time to allow things to flow and mix in a way. And what's cool about Temperance is that this also can talk about like combining things that are opposites to find synastry or balance. So it's like, you guys are also perceived, I feel like, as somebody who's good at like mixing or meshing well with others, or you guys might be perceived as being good at like bringing differences together to find balance, bringing different people together to find harmony and balance. Like there's definitely something about being able to balance out opposite energies coming through here. Let's keep going. So we have the Detective coming through. Okay, that's interesting. And we've got the Knight. Yeah. So the Knight is kind of like that Queen of Cups energy. This talks about, you know, loyalty, romance, and chivalry, a love of honor. So it's like, I definitely think that you are perceived as like being somebody who truly wants to do the right thing. I also think, kind of going back to that Queen of Cups card with boundaries like we talked about, you guys may have a tendency to kind of want to go in and rescue others. Maybe going in to like, you know, sweep in as like the knight in shining armor to like help rescue a situation or whatever. Maybe you guys get a lot out of that. But I definitely think that, again, like people are noticing that you're trying to sort of balance out a little bit more versus always being that white knight to rush in and like fix everything. We also have the Detective coming through. So this talks about great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. This makes a lot of sense too with like the Queen of Cups, because the Queen of Cups is also like a very like, it's an empath, right? It can be a very psychic card to get. So I definitely think that people perceive you as being very like intuitive. I definitely feel like people see you guys as being like always seeking to know what is the true answer, right? Versus like, I don't know, like what am I trying to say? That people know that you're going to find out or get to the bottom of stuff. Do you get what I mean? I also feel like for some of you, the Detective could be speaking of like a little bit of a snoop type of energy, like in a negative way. So just keep that in mind. It may not apply, but that's just something that I'm being guided to share, that like maybe at times people perceive you as being a little bit nosy, or like, you know, with the Queen of Cups being reversed, it's like poor boundaries when it comes to your detective work. You know, so like there's some instances where it's good to ask questions, where it's our place to ask questions and investigate the truth. But there could be other situations where it's inappropriate for us to like stick ourselves into it or stick our nose into it, right? So maybe a message for someone viewing this, but that's just something that's coming through. All right, let's look at these cards. So we have the Goose. Take time to rest and recuperate rather than continuing your striving. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. We also have the Boar, which is a pig. Face your problems head on with confidence and courage and you will emerge victorious. Cool. Yeah, so with the Goose card coming through, this feels like for a lot of you guys, this like Queen of Cups reversed energy, this Temperance energy, like I think I was mentioning in the beginning how it kind of feels like you guys are detaching or trying to find balance and harmony within yourself again. So people are definitely perceiving that from you right now, like taking time to rest and recuperate rather than continuing to push forward. People could be perceiving you right now as taking a break, taking a rest, taking some time off, in a sense, or even just like focusing more on yourself versus being enmeshed with what other people might be doing. We also have the Boar, face your problems head on. So I almost feel like people are perceiving you right now, like this break or this rest that you're taking is sort of like the way you're facing the problem right now. But I also think that there could be an aspect of you, like kind of going back to this Knight. The Knight is very action oriented. This Boar is very action oriented too, right? So there's definitely like an attribute that you guys have around like problem solving and being able to go in and like, you know, face a problem and fix it with confidence. So people definitely also perceive you guys as being a problem solver, which makes a lot of sense with that temperance energy, because again, temperance is about like blending sort of opposite energies. Like you guys could probably get oil and water to agree with each other and like, you know, love each other and mesh together in some way, because you guys are really good at like being patient with others and compassionate and not rushing the process, like allowing things to happen in their own time. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to get one last card for you. This is going to be your advice card, pile 4. So we have the Graveyard, Unnecessary Fear. Ooh, this is cool. Okay. So there's definitely like a message here for you guys around like needing to lay something to rest with regard to work, or like how people are perceiving you at work. Maybe something has come to an end recently and you guys have been a little fearful of that ending, or been a little fearful of like letting it go. But this is talking about unnecessary fears, right? Like, especially when we think of a graveyard, like graveyards are always touted as being like these really spooky, you know, like places to go, but it's really not. It's like a beautiful resting place if you really think about it. And if you listen to a lot of different like mediums that are out there, they'll even talk about how like spirits, once they transition over, they don't really hang out around their grave. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you listen to mediums that connect with like their, you know, loved ones that are still here. It's not like they're hanging out at their grave, like where their body is laid and like haunting people. No, like, so the fear of the graveyard is unnecessary, right? So this is really asking you like to identify what is it that you guys might be afraid of at work? What are you afraid of letting go of? What are you guys maybe afraid of confronting, right? And releasing that and letting it go. Because this may be getting in your way from being able to achieve great things as the energy stands right now. So hopefully this was able to help you out, pile 4. This was definitely an interesting reading. So drop me a comment down below and let me know how it resonated. Thank you all so much for taking the time to view today's reading. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.